Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Gemma and today I'm going to talk through some books that I have bought of late. And without further ado, let's crack on. These are not going to be in any particular order, but I will start with the ones that I bought recently at the BookTuber meetup in York. So for those that don't know, recently about 20 booktubers all got together in the beautiful historic city of York in the north of England, and we went around and we did book shopping. We did lots of book shopping and my plan was to vlog that day. However, I took about 3 clips and then I was just too busy yapping. I yapped a lot. I even didn't buy many books because I was too busy talking. So it was a fabulous day. Hopefully I've overlaid some footage while I've been talking of the day, yeah, it was brilliant. But I bought 3 books. They are here, so we'll talk about those first. So the first one I bought 2 books and I got a gifted one. So the first one I have here is from a charity shop and it's called The Book of Negoes by Lawrence Hill. And this follows a young girl who is stolen from her village in Africa at the age of 11 and then sort of dragged to the sea and over to America to work on plantations, and there was a particular quote at the end of the blurb that got me, and it says, in a Back to Africa odyssey of 1,200 former slaves, the Book of Negoes introduces one of the strongest female characters in recent fiction, a woman who cuts a swath through a world hostile to her colour and her sex. So that sounds super interesting to me. Definitely a Gemma book for sure, and I haven't really seen anyone talk about this, though it did win the Commonwealth Writers' Prize in 2008. So I would love to know if you have read it, and I am really looking forward to that one. Then I also bought The Parlour Wife by Foluso Agbaje. Apologies if I've said that name wrong. And this is set in Lagos in Nigeria in 1939 and follows a young woman who, when the war breaks out, she's sort of forced to become third wife to a man. But as the war continues, she becomes a leader in like a women's rights group within Lagos, and it's about that, and it just sounds so amazing. And this cover, just yes, everything about this book says yes to me, so looking forward to that. Then the lovely Ben from Ben Reads Good gave me this, Anyone's Ghost by August Thompson, which he said he didn't like that much, but he thought I would like it, so tickle me intrigued. On the back it just says, I think this must be a proof, it took 3 car crashes to kill Jake. And I think it's about 2 young men who sort of come together and drift apart over decades. There are 3 car crashes, clearly, the final one of which kills the main character, but it's supposed to be a love story, quite sad. So I'm intrigued. It sounds like it very well could be a Gemma book, so looking forward to that. Then I have Light from Uncommon Stars by Ryka Aokki, and this is a sci-fi novel that has had quite a lot of praise, and it's about a young... What, darling?
I need the toilet and it's a poo.
Go on then. And she makes a deal with the devil, effectively, to save her soul from damnation. She has to get 7 violinists to offer up their souls or something like that, and so yeah, sounds interesting. It has, like, on the premise of it, it sounds a little bit like the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue type of thing, where you're making deals and selling souls. And anyway, it sounds really good. I absolutely adore this cover as well, and yeah, I'll be reading this for my workbook club in November, so I will feed back on this in my November wrap up. Then the fab folks at Vintage Influencer sent me Creation Lake by Rachel Kushner, which is shortlisted for the Booker Prize, and I still haven't got to it yet, so I really need to get to this. I mean, this has been everywhere. I don't think I need to go into the premise so much, but it's about a woman who's a spy in France, but I don't think it's really that spy-esque. I would say it's had lukewarm reception, so we'll see if I like this, but yeah, really delighted to have a hard copy. The next one I have is absolutely the fault of Simon at Savage Reads. I saw him talk about this on, I don't know if it was his haul or his autumn winter TBR or something like that, but I saw this and immediately had to purchase it. So it's called The End of August by you, Miri, translated by Morgan Giles. And let's be honest, all I heard was multi-generational saga, Korea, World War II, and I was like, yes. And it's a big boy. So how many pages is this? Like 700 pages. And I think this one follows, we've got a split timeline, a runner in the 30s, in World War II, Korea, and a runner in modern day. And the runner from World War II was forced to run under the Japanese team, effectively, even though he was Korean. And then this new generation runner sort of uncovers the family histories. I think there's an element of magical realism in this, which sometimes works for me and sometimes it doesn't. But let's be honest, the cover is stunning and multi-generational World War II saga in Korea. Yes, all the yeses, all the ticks. Then I bought myself Open Throat by Henry Hoke. I have seen this around quite a lot. I actually bought it for Shorty September and then didn't obviously read it in September. And I don't know so much about this. The blurb doesn't give a lot away. It's about a queer, hungry lion that's living under the Hollywood sign, and he's trying to decide whether he wants to eat a human or become a human. So it sounds really interesting, but the cover drew me in. The hot pink is fantastic, and yeah, sounds like an interesting premise. So looking forward to that. Then I have a graphic novel, a Guest in the House by Emily Carroll, and this looks fantastic. And I know that my lovely friend Alice read this earlier in the year, and it had me super interested to try it. I think she thought it was good. I can't quite remember, but I was in the mood for spooky graphic novels, so this seemed to do the job. I think it's about a woman who's trying to understand why her mother died while they're staying in the house where she lived or died, I don't know. But it sounds great, and the cover's fab. There's a mixture of black and white and colour illustrations in there. So yeah, I'll let you know. Okay, then I went to a little free library which is in the next village along from me. I did not know it was there. My friend told me, and I dropped some books off there and obviously had a look while I was there, and I found a little treasure trove of books. So I picked up The Hero of Ages, which is Mistborn book 3. I already own books 1 and 2 over here somewhere, and so that was a bit of a touch that happened to be the one I didn't own, by Brandon Sanderson, epic fantasy. Everybody raves about this series, so I'm really excited to get to it. Now I have the full trilogy, so I have no excuse not to read it. So yeah, looking forward to that. I also picked up A Room with a View by EM Forster, which is set in Florence. I know that my friend Jack at Spread Book Joy read this last year? Was it this year? Last year, I don't know. And she said it was pretty good. Never read any EM Forster, and I think it's looking at sort of the middle class and their ability to love, that sort of thing. So yeah, love that. I also picked up The Troublesome Offspring of Cardinal Guzman by Louis de Bernieres. And I don't know so much about this. I think it's part of a trilogy that doesn't really need to be read in order. I think the cover is brilliant. It's set in South America. And yeah, thought I'd give it a whirl because I've never tried any Bernieres. I do have Captain Corelli's Mandolin on my Kindle, which is obviously his most famous work. But yeah, thought this could be a fun one to try. Then the last little stack was from when I went to Cambridge with a couple of friends of mine. They are definitely more into like fashion and stuff, so they did clothes shops, and they were kind enough to let me peruse some bookshops while we were there as well. And when we were going through Cambridge, there was this lovely little market in like the central square, and on one of the tables was secondhand books, and I found some really good ones. So I picked up The Bonesetter's Daughter by Amy Tan. Amy Tan is an author that I have not read from, but really, really want to. I do have another of her books on my shelf somewhere. I think it might be called The Kitchen God's Wife. I can't see it for looking. But this one is following the relationship between Luling Young and her daughter Ruth. It's supposed to be very sad, traumatic, looking at relationships, etc, etc. So definitely sounds like a me book, and yeah, been wanting to read some Tam for a while. Then I found this almost completely perfect hardback edition of The Fell by Sarah Moss. I read my first book by Sarah Moss last year and really enjoyed it. The title of which escapes me. Summer Water. And I think this is one that's set during a pandemic where a woman who's not supposed to be going out goes out and then gets stuck down a hole or something. I have heard people say this isn't their favourite Sarah Moss. I do also have Ghost Wall somewhere on my shelf from her to read, but yeah, I just really like Sarah Moss's writing style, so I couldn't really walk past this when it was in a charity shop for like £2 or something. So yes, pick that up. Then I also got A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan, and I don't know what this book is about. I feel like it's a very famous book. Obviously Jennifer Egan came out with a sequel for this last year, The Candy House. And yeah, I've never read this. I don't know what it's about. I think it's about like lots of different people's lives and how they connect, and like the ramifications of decisions that you make in your youth and that sort of thing. But yeah, I wanted to give it a go, and it was sat there calling to me, so I picked it up. I also picked up Zorrie by Laird Hunt, and this really just follows the life of Zorrie. I think she loses her parents, goes to live with her aunt, loses her aunts, and ends up sleeping rough. And so it sounds like quite the epic for quite a slim novel. But I am pretty sure Charlie from Charlie Book Reads really liked this, and so yeah, I'm keen to give it a go and see what I think. And then from the little market charity stall, we went into Waterstones, and I was only going to get one book, right? And then my friends were like, no, Gemma, treat yourself, get two. So I did. And I picked up Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid, which is a retelling of Macbeth from the perspective of Lady Macbeth. I think it's billed as a feminist retelling, but I saw Willow review this and say it's not very feminist, but it's a fun ride. So I can cope with that. So yes, looking forward to that. Not read Ava Reid before. And I also picked up The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman. I haven't read The Magician's trilogy, which Grossman is most famous for. But this is an Arthurian retelling. I think it's going to be the first in a series, but I might be making that up. But yeah, it's very much Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur, all of that jazz with a fantasy spin on it. An absolutely stunning cover, though quite a chunky boy. I am in the mood for chunky. I am. My problem is I'm now reading all chunky books, and I feel like I haven't finished anything in about 5,000 years. So I'm going to have to pick up a few shorter books before I get to this, just to feel like I'm moving through my TBR. But yeah, super excited for that. And that is all of the books. That is all of them. So they can now be put safely away on my shelves and not leave, and not just be in a sort of leaning tower of Pisa next to my bookshelves anymore. But yeah, I'd love to know if you've read any of these, what are your thoughts, and I will leave my last haul here for you if you want to see just more books that you could buy. And I will be back very soon with another one. Bye guys!